Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz. Guys, welcome to YouTube exclusive number 7. Guys, if you haven't joined us for any of these exclusives, basically we do a shortened version of our full-length podcast episodes. If you have not checked out the podcast, we're on all audio platforms and YouTube as well. You can also check out some clips on Instagram. But basically in these exclusives, we try to just do a shortened version of a topic that we either already have covered or one that we will cover in the future. And today we are talking about men should be men. On that note, our very close friend, who is significantly older than us.
Significantly.
By a long shot. I mean, it's not even close.
Hundreds of years.
This runway behind us, like how long that is, like that's how many years are between us and him. Our boy JT hit 225 on the bench for the first time in his life. Huge congratulations to him. That is a huge milestone. No jokes, or like all jokes aside, that's a huge accomplishment. For those of you that have worked to get to that big number of 225, like you know how long that can take. And so we're very, very proud of him. He called us right away. It was sick. We were one of the first few people that he told, which feels good. So shout out to Mr. JT. Keep going, baby. So anyway, let's hop in here. Men should be men. First thing we want to talk about is leadership. Leadership. Talk to us.
And what do men leading, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is that abstract idea we talk about in society, right? Because as we've talked about, you and I have a very unique opinion on this compared to what the modern day example of is that. You know, we think
real quick, even though we are standing in a church parking lot here, even though the Bible would be thoroughly on our side, or maybe we should say we're on the side of the Bible. That's probably the better way. Probably the better way.
The
to say
Bible's
that.
on our side,
which it is. God and the Bible are always on our side, which is a fantastic thing about God and the Bible. But I just thought that was kind of funny as we're standing here in a church parking lot. You said we have a unique perspective. Well, is it unique? Because it's been around for thousands of years.
Literally thousands of years.
Literally, yes.
And that's what's insane to me about it, is because, you know, you think of men leading nowadays, what we've been told is, oh, it's men should pay the bill when they sit down, and that's leadership. Okay, yes, that's a small portion of it. But is that really the only thing men should be leading in? How many relationships do you see that the woman leads? Most of them. Most of them that we know, the woman does a good amount of leading in the relationship. And that could be decision making in a lot of ways. You know, the man asking the woman everything, like, what do we do here? What do you want to do here? What do you want to do this? And he has no ability to say his portion of this aspect or portion of the conversation, right? So he has no ability to actually state his position and follow through on that for the relationship, the family, whatever it is, or when it comes to society, as we're going to talk about as well.
100%. And it's not that we're saying women can't make decisions in relationships. Because I know that our message here can be conveyed that way. However, that's not what we're saying. But when the man in the relationship is not able to put the input in, like you just mentioned, or either make decisions for the relationship, when it is time for him to make those decisions, to step up and lead in those situations and whatnot, you know, that's what we're talking about. It's him taking the initiative on those things, whether it's in a relationship with a woman or a friendship. There's times where you lead me and I lead you, you know, and there's even times where Mitch leads us, you know, as far as the three of us. So it's important as a man to, one, understand the situation you're in. Okay, is this a time where I need to be leading, where I need to take initiative, where I may need to make a decision, whether it's going to be the popular one or the unpopular one, but is it the right one? And if that's the case, like, you absolutely have to, you know, so we're not saying that women can't make any decisions and that all the decisions they make are bad. That's not what we're saying. But when a relationship, especially a romantic one, is solely led by the woman, things are probably going to go south.
Absolutely. As we actually talked about in our last full episode, episode 135 and whatnot, the decision-making processes that men are able to look through the fog, so to speak, a little bit easier a lot of the times of a certain scenario. Now, I mean, a good example, like I'm in a relationship. I do 100% consider Holly's input on things.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. So I absolutely consider her input on things. Now, do I have the final decision? Yeah, I do. I do make the final decisions in those scenarios. And oftentimes, she's a really smart girl, so usually I take her way a lot of the time, just because it's easy to do that when you're dating somebody who's a really good person. Which is another thing, we just date a good person. But not the point here. when it comes
as far as the smart thing, as we've discussed, it's not very hard to be smart.
I was going to say, like that, like the whole brain cell thing doesn't really play well with us. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. But I love the aspect of friendship you mentioned too, because the friendship one is really big, because if you aren't able to have real conversations with your male friends at all, it's not a real friendship.
Correct.
Because the amount of times we've told each other no on something, or told each other another avenue on something, and we've went with the best avenue.
Correct.
That's the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
You know, you should be able to say, okay, like, hey, Wurtz, that's a dumbass idea. You know, like that, I don't like where we're going to be going with that,
Right.
or vice versa.
Right.
In that case, Gabel, what are you talking about? Like, that won't help us at all.
Right.
And oftentimes, that's the case.
And
it won't help us.
And in those cases too, like, let's say I came up with the idea and it was just like, it's dumb, and you called me out for it. At some point, I'm going to get to the point where it's like, man, that really was a stupid idea. Like, we cannot go that direction. We can't go with that topic, or we can't go with that point, or we can't do this type of vlog, you know, whatever it might be, you know, and vice versa. Like, both of us get to the point where it's like, you know, the full head scratch that we discussed. Yes,
of course.
It's like, yeah, like that was stupid. You know what I mean? So it is vitally important, especially too when you're working in a business together.
Yep.
You know, because it's not just our lives that are on the line there, but we have other people counting on us as well for information through the podcast or through the YouTube videos, or with their livelihood, with their training.
Yep.
You know, like they are counting on us.
Absolutely.
And you guys are counting on us to do the best possible job that we can do. And if we're not on the same page, or if we're not able to discuss things, like that's going to create problems for you guys as well, let alone just us.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not saying go and call your friends stupid.
Yeah,
obviously.
Right.
You know, I wanted to caveat that, but it's like, you should be able to tell your friends, okay, here's the correct decision. Especially, I mean, that's the whole reason why Wurtz and I even got into business partnership too, is because, one, we're both leaders, but we're both able to follow when necessary too.
Absolutely.
You know, when it comes to that as well. And then we're also able to tell each other the truth no matter what.
Absolutely.
Which is huge.
And
I mean, we literally have someone we're being accountable on right now.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
And we're holding each other accountable on that. So like that's even separate from the business, but is it?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Because long term, it 100% plays into our productivity.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Know? Okay, so next point, knowing when to say no, which actually kind of goes into what we were just discussing there as far as the conversation piece. You know, there are plenty of times, whether you're male or female, obviously we're focusing more on the male side, and you know, as we should, we got 2 males here, but there are plenty of times and plenty of situations where the correct thing to do is to say no. And I actually really, really love that Andy, who we've talked about, Andy Frisella, he's talked about this quite a bit, that no is a complete sentence. And it can be in a lot of situations. And it can also be the most difficult sentence to say, you know, because people want to please other people, and you want to help other people out, and you want to spend energy on other people, and that's fantastic. That's a very good quality to have. You should never be 100% selfish with your own time. You know, there is absolutely a time and place to be helping others. But when the time isn't right, when the situation isn't right for you to be a part of it, like, you need to say no. You need to remove yourself from said situation. You know, if it's not gonna better you in some way, then why are you getting involved in it? You know what I mean? And so I think that's something that lacks in today's society some, even though we do have a very docile society nowadays, especially in the youth. You know, both of us have worked a lot around youth and whatnot. And
docile is a great word for it.
And it is, you know, it's just almost at all levels, you know.
Absolutely,
and we both catch ourselves being that way at times as well. You know, there's times where we have plenty of things to do for the business or for our own stuff or whatever, and it's like, man, I'm choosing to be kind of lazy right now and just relax, when I know I've got a full list of things to do. Maybe I need to knock off 1 or 2 of them, and then maybe I can take some chill time. You know what I mean? So it's being in those instances where, no, like, I'm not doing this, or I'm going to make a better choice here, or whatever it is. You know?
Yeah, I'm not going to have the beers in this situation compared to what I usually would. Like,
Fair enough.
Is a great example of that a lot of times, because, you know, like, it's easy when you and I are on someone at 75 hard, you know, holding us accountable, that we're like, you know, why don't we go have a midday beer or something like that, or have an afternoon beer or something like that, and whatnot. And it's like, okay, like, could we spend this time doing something else? Could we spend this time doing a vlog? Could we spend this time working on training programs and whatnot? We probably could, you know, a lot of the times. Now, again, I'm not saying, because obviously we do drink, we have beer and whatnot. I'm not saying don't do that, but it is something to be like, okay, you're saying no to yourself in those scenarios. Just like in relationships, as we were talking about, you have to say no sometimes. Like, if you and your friends are talking politics or whatnot, don't just sit there and be afraid to voice your opinion and whatnot.
Sure.
That's a way of saying no. You should be able to step in and be like, no, I don't agree with that. No, that policy wouldn't help our country, or whatever in the politics. We have to do that.
No, we shouldn't be sending billions overseas.
Exactly.
When we have a whole state
this is
underwater.
not logical. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
FEMA is not out of money. Except, like obvious stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in a relationship, a lot of times, as we were talking about how, relationships have been subverted a lot of the times between men and women, where the man is the one that's supposed to say yes all the time. Get her the gifts, lavish her life, do everything for her and whatnot. But then if he says no, he's controlling, and he's the evil one. He's this egotistical narcissist, which is the new buzzword of the day and whatnot.
Right.
But in reality, relationships do have an aspect of saying no to them. Like 100%, if you're going to be in a relationship, you're going to talk about that stuff. Important conversations will happen. There's going to be certain values you guys might not be 100% on. Mm-hmm. And if it's something that you're for sure not okay with, you need to be saying no.
Right.
There are values and standards you should have set in that. Like if you're kind of questioning her guy friends or who she's friends with and whatnot.
Or his girlfriends.
100%, because that does go both ways.
Right.
It's like, hey, I don't trust Susie. Hey, I don't trust John.
Susie?
And whatnot. Yeah, I don't know
That's
why.
the name?
Susie was like 800 years
Susie?
ago. Yeah, that was like 800 years ago at least for a name like that. But the point is, hey, Susie is always flirting with you or something like that. And he's like, no.
Right.
That's
right.
Obviously.
Correct.
Or,
correct.
Hey, John, he has ulterior motives. He's not just your best friend.
Right.
That's when you put your foot in the ground and you don't just continue letting yourself get walked over in that scenario.
Absolutely.
Because you can recognize it. You have good intuition. Especially if you're listening to our podcast and whatnot, like I think if you listen to enough episodes by now, you're kind of knowing what to look for. You're kind of knowing how to look through that fog, as we've talked about for men as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Saying no is just so important because we haven't said no in this country when it comes to politics for the last 70 years, at least. 50 to 70 years.
Correct.
Again,
unless it's logical. I mean, literally, all jokes aside, like unless it's something logical that is productive for the country.
100%.
Yeah.
Think about it. You and I have talked about it. We've gotten more progressive over the last 50 to 70 years. So there's been no saying no at all, and our country's gotten worse.
Right.
I said 50 to 70 years, we've gotten more progressive. It's gotten worse in this country.
Right.
Everything's more expensive. Morals are nowhere to be found because, as men, we have not said no to that type of stuff.
Right.
We will not allow this to happen in our schools. Where are the fathers when it comes to the male changing in a female's locker room?
Yeah.
In the case of Leah or whatever, not his name, whatever his name is.
Or the one that was here, here in St. Louis.
Absolutely.
Like with Lifetime. Yep. I mean, seriously, it's like, what are we doing?
100%. Why are we not saying no?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because of a paycheck? Well, truthfully, if we just keep allowing this, you're not going to have a paycheck in the next 20 years.
Exactly.
You're going to be entirely relying on government assistance at that point in time. Right. Oh, maybe technology's gone too far. Maybe we should chill out with AI a little bit and not replace human jobs.
Correct.
That's something we could say no on as well.
Yeah. No, exactly, dude. Exactly. 100%. So, basically, guys, know when to say no, know when to lead, know when to take initiative, and your life will get substantially better.
100%. 100%. Guaranteed it will. Right. Guaranteed.
And it doesn't mean be a dick. It doesn't mean to say no 100% of the time. It doesn't mean to not do anything with other people. Like, that's not what we're saying. Listen to the content of what we're saying here and apply it to your own life and see what happens.
Yeah. Beautiful.
All right, guys. As always, please share the show, share it to your stories, take a screenshot of it if you're watching it on your phone, or take a picture of your computer screen, your TV screen, your movie screen.
Tough.
And share it, okay? Also, quick shout out to S2.
Yeah,
this new gear is
disgusting.
New fall gear, couple colors.
And these First Form shorts, by the way,
That's
too.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Also with their fall drop. Just a quick shout out.
Base company, owned by Base Man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom.